I think I ought to be allowed to talk as long as I want to, for the reason that I have canceled all my winter's engagements of every kind for good and sufficient reasons, and am making no new engagements for this winter, and therefore this is the only chance I shall have to disembowel my skull for a year. Close the mouth in that portrait for a year. I want to offer thanks and homage to the chairman for this innovation which he has introduced here, which is an improvement, as I consider it, on the old-fashioned style of conducting occasions like this. That was bad. That was a bad arrangement. Under that old custom, the chairman got up and made a speech. He introduced the prisoner at the bar and covered him all over with compliments. Nothing but compliments, not a thing but compliments. Never a slur, and sat down and left that man to get up and talk without a text. You cannot talk on compliments. That is not a text. No modest person, and I was born like that, can talk on compliments. A man gets up and is filled to the eyes with happy emotions, but his tongue is tied. He has nothing to say. He is in the condition of Dr. Rice's friend who came home drunk and explained it to his wife, and his wife said to him, "John, when you have drunk all the whiskey you want, you ought to ask for sarsaparilla." He said, "Yes, but when I have drunk all the whiskey I want, I can't say sarsaparilla." And so I think it is much better to leave a man unmolested until the testimony and pleadings are all in. Otherwise he is dumb. He is at the sarsaparilla stage. Before I get to the higgledy-piggledy point, as Mr. Howells suggested I do, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for this very high honor you are doing me, and I am quite competent to estimate it at its value. I see here around me the captains of industry in all the great illustrious industries, most distinguished men. There are more than 50 here, I believe, and I believe that out of those 50 I know 39 of them well. I could probably borrow money from the others anyway. It is a proud thing to me, indeed, to see such a distinguished gathering come here on such an occasion as this, when there is no foreign prince to be feted, when you have come here, as I take it you do, not to do honor to hereditary privilege and ancient lineage, but to do reverence to mere moral excellence and elemental veracity. And dear me, how old it seems to make me, 67. I look around me and I see 3 or 4 persons I have known so many, many years. I have known John Hay and Tom Reed and the Reverend Mr. Twitchell close upon 36 years. Close upon 36 years I have known those venerable men. I have known Mr. Howells nearly 34 years, and I knew Chauncey Depew before he could walk straight, and before he learned to tell the truth. 27 years ago I heard him make the most noble and eloquent and beautiful speech that has ever fallen from even his capable lips. Tom Reed said that my principal defect was inaccuracy of statement. Well, suppose that is true. What's the use of telling the truth all the time? I never tell the truth about Tom Reed, but that is his defect, truth. He speaks the truth always. Tom Reed has got a good heart and he has got a good intellect, but he hasn't got any judgment. Why, when Tom Reed was invited to lecture to the Ladies' Society for the Procreation or Procrastination or something of morals, I don't know what it was, advancement, I suppose, of pure morals, he had the immortal indiscretion to begin by saying that some of us can't be optimists. but by judiciously utilizing the opportunities that Providence puts in our way, we can all be bigamists. You perceive his limitations. Anything he has got to state, he states if he thinks it is true. Well, that was true, but that was no place to say that. So they fired him out. Well, he has had a good deal to say about that yachting cruise last spring down in the West Indies and Mr. Rogers' yacht, and so has Colonel Harvey said some things about that. But dear me, that was not a poker-playing trip at all. There was poker, but not much poker. There was perhaps what a crowd like this would call a great deal of poker, but a crowd like that, we didn't go down there to play poker anyway. We went down there to hunt up Martinique and start up that volcano. And that was a remarkable voyage in various ways. We had a storm, so I got out of my berth at 2 o'clock in the morning and went up to the poker chapel to see if I could find something to hang on to, and presently I heard Tom Reed lumbering up that companionway and grunting and blaspheming and butting the bulkhead, carrying on. Good land! I thought something was the matter with his appendicitis. Then he appeared up there in his pajamas, and he was going it. Well, he said, I couldn't stay in my berth at all. It's wet. Why, I said, you old thing, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, scared to that extent. A lot of accounts have been settled here tonight for me. I have held grudges against some of these people, but they have all been wiped out by the very handsome compliments that have been paid me. Even Wayne McVeigh. I have had a grudge against him many years. The first time I saw Wayne McVeigh was at a private dinner party at Charles A. Dana's, and when I got there he was going on, and I tried to get a word in here and there, but you know what Wayne McVeigh is when he is started, and I could not get in 5 words to his 1, or 1 word to his 5. I struggled along, and well, I wanted to tell, and I was trying to tell a dream I had had the night before, and it was a remarkable dream. A dream, it was what people's while to listen to, and it was a dream such as the revivalists describe, some general reception in heaven. I was on a train and had stopped at the Celestial Way station. I had a through ticket. And I noticed a man sitting alongside of me that was asleep and had his ticket in his hat. He was the remains of the Archbishop of Canterbury. I recognized him by his photograph. I had nothing against him, so I took his ticket and let him have mine. He didn't object. He wasn't in a condition to object. And presently, when the train stopped at the heavenly station, well, I got off and he went on by request. There they all were, the angels, you know, millions of them, every one with a torch. They had arranged for a torchlight procession. They were expecting the Archbishop, and when I got off they started to raise a shout, but it didn't materialize. I don't know whether they were disappointed. I suppose they had a lot of superstitious ideas about the Archbishop and what he looked like, and I didn't fill the bill. And I was trying to explain to St. Peter, and I was doing it in the German language because I didn't want to be too explicit. Well, I found it was no use trying to tell that story. I couldn't get along, for Wayne McVeigh was occupying the whole place, and I said to Mr. Dana, what is the matter with that man? Who is that man with the long tongue? What's the trouble with him getting up a conflagration like this without giving a man a chance? That other incendiary, that long, lank cadaver, that old oil derrick out of a job, who is that? Well, no, Mr. Dana says, you don't want to meddle with him. You'd better keep quiet, just keep quiet, because that's a bad man. Talk? He was born to talk. Don't let him get out with you. He'll skin you. I said, I have been scanned right along. There's nothing left. He says, oh, you'll find there is. That man is the very seed and inspiration of that proverb which says, it's no matter how close you skin an onion, a clever man can always peel it again. Well, I reflected and I quieted down. That would never occur to Tom Reed. He's got no discretion. Well, McVeigh is just the same man. He hasn't changed a bit in all those years. He has been peeling Mr. Mitchell lately. That's the kind of man he is. Mr. Howells, that poem of his is admirable. That's the way to treat a person. Howells has a peculiar gift for seeing the merits of people, and he has always exhibited them in my favor. Howells has never written anything about me that I couldn't read 6 or 7 times a day. He's always just and always fair. He has written more appreciatively of me than anyone in this world, and published it in the North American Review. He did me the justice to say that my intentions, he italicized that my intentions were always good, that I wounded people's conventions rather than their convictions. And now I wouldn't want anything handsomer than that said of me. I would rather wait with anything harsh I might have to say till the convictions become conventions. Bangs has traced me all the way down. He can't find that honest man, but I will look for him in the looking glass when I get home.